How does a loving father disappear without running away, without being kidnapped, and without even realizing he's gone? On a Tuesday evening, Arthur did exactly what he always did. Same jacket, same boots, same promise. He kissed his wife Sarah on the forehead and said, "Put the kettle on. I'm bringing home the new desk for our daughter. I'll be there by 6. Their daughter waited by the window. 6 o'clock passed, then 7, then midnight. Arthur never came home. Months later, when the police finally found him, he wasn't in a grave. He wasn't tied up in a basement. He was standing in a workshop, sanding a table. When officers told him his wife and children were looking for him, he didn't cry, he didn't panic. He looked up slowly and said 5 words that destroyed everything. "I don't want to go home." This is not a story about betrayal. This is a story about psychological slavery. And the woman who did it was standing beside him the entire time. Arthur was a master carpenter. In his town, people called him the Golden Hands. His work paid for private school, a warm home, and a stable life. He was gentle, quiet, non-confrontational. And watching him every day was Elena, the bookkeeper. She didn't raise her voice. She didn't flirt. She watched. She saw how talented he was, how much money his work generated, and most importantly, how easy he was to control. The day Arthur vanished, Sarah called the workshop in panic. Elena answered. "He left hours ago," she said flatly. "I don't know where he is." Then she hung up. That was the first lie. For weeks, Sarah searched hospitals, morgues, police stations. When the police finally traced Arthur, they found him working in a warehouse Elena secretly owned. They expected a hostage situation. What they found was worse. Arthur was free to walk out. The doors were unlocked. No chains, no locks. When police asked him why he abandoned his family, his voice was empty. "I live here now. This is where I belong." Because he was an adult, and because he said he was there voluntarily, the police closed the case. And that's when the real punishment began. Back home, the whispers started. Neighbors blamed Sarah. Friends disappeared. Money ran out. Their son, Jack, dropped out of college to work construction just to keep food on the table. No one knew the truth. Arthur wasn't living a new life. He was working 18 hours a day, sleeping on concrete, paid nothing. Elena took every dollar. Witnesses later said Arthur barely spoke. He followed instructions like a machine. He had been slowly broken, isolated, exhausted, and convinced this was all he was good for. 16 months passed. Then, one quiet afternoon, there was a knock at the door. Knock, knock, knock. Sarah froze. It was a rhythm only Arthur used. She opened the door. He stood there like a stranger. Hair matted, hands black with dirt, eyes hollow. His voice shook as he asked the question that shattered her. "Why didn't you come for me? Why did you leave me there?" The spell had broken. Arthur remembered almost nothing. Not choosing to stay, not refusing to come home. Only hunger, fear, work. His mind had been hijacked.
Sarah didn't hesitate. She pulled him inside, she washed him, fed him, cut his hair. He was fragile, like a child relearning how to exist.
Weeks later, Elena drove to their house and began screaming outside. "Arthur, get out here! We have orders to fill! Get back to work!" Inside, Arthur collapsed into a corner, shaking. The conditioning was still there, but this time he wasn't alone. Jack stepped outside. He didn't argue, he didn't warn her. He grabbed Elena and dragged her off the property. The police were called again. This time, they didn't see a dispute. They saw a predator trying to reclaim a victim. Elena was arrested. Her control was finally broken. Arthur never fully recovered. His speech is slow, his memory fractured. 16 months of psychological slavery left scars that never healed. But this story isn't about Elena. It's about Sarah. She had lost everything. Her reputation, her savings, her trust. Yet when the broken man returned, she chose compassion. Because Arthur didn't abandon his family. He was stolen. And here is the terrifying truth. Slavery doesn't always look like chains. Sometimes it looks like a quiet workshop, a manipulative boss, and a human mind slowly switched off while the world walks past without noticing. If this happened once, how many times is it happening right now?